Welcome to Barbershop Breakdown. You can reach us at Barbershop Be Down on Twitter. Also, you can go to our Facebook page, which is the Barbershop Breakdown Show. You can also friend us on Facebook. Search for Barbershop Breakdown. And you can email us anytime at barbershopbreakdown@gmail.com.
Hello, welcome to the Barbershop Breakdown. This is your man Roscoe, and of course I'm always with
Big T.
Well, today we got a great topic. It's a topic near and dear to our hearts, and I'm pretty sure a lot of different people, and it's been touched on by a lot of different people. And we're not going to reinvent the wheel here. We're not going to, it's going to be quick and short, but we're going to probably revisit it time and time again. And that topic is the actual word nigger. Now, the spelling, I don't care how you spell it, Nigga, Nigger. I mean, there's so many ways you can spell it. I've seen it with an H at the end. I've seen all type of stuff. How do you feel about it, Big T?
In all honesty, I'm going to tell you this, man. There's a lot of controversy, all the time. And I have white friends that we always touch bases on it. And they say, hey, man, we can't say the word and you guys can say it, and it's kind of a little unfair and this and that, and is it ever okay to say it? And it's not directed as a negative term of a negative term or anything. I'm like this. Unfortunately, it's one of those things where no, you can't never say it. I myself look at it as a sort of term of endearment between black people. I'm not going to lie. I use the word a lot. I use the word daily. I use it to me, it's like a noun. Describes a person, place, or thing. And, I just grew up. I grew up around that. My uncles, my cousins, everyone talking to each other, and, it was always, oh, nigga, please. Nigga what? Nigga that? Like my man said on the YouTube video that was funny. He shouldn't have said it, but man, lend a nigga a pencil. I'm not I'm not gonna lie, man. It's just one of those things, and, I really don't, I feel it's just something that should just stay amongst black people.
Well, see, I look at it as, now, don't get me wrong, I use it like it's my other name. So, I use it quite often. And I just think that maybe we shouldn't. And the reason I say that is it means so much to so many different people. Now, it doesn't mean as much to us in our generation coming up. We've kind of, like you said, used as a term of endearment. We've put it all in our culture as far as music and movies and television shows and things of that nature. But when you speak to some older black people, it means something different, man. When you speak to someone like my grandfather passed away a few years ago, but he was 96 when he passed away, and it meant something different to him than it did to me. Now, I guess you could say, well, you just got to move on, which is true. Which is, if we keep going the way we're going, maybe 30 years from now, 40, 50 years from now, it won't mean a thing. Or the flip side, it'll always keep that connotation. Now, the reason I say I think it means a lot to them, and I think maybe we shouldn't use it, is because even you and myself, if you're called that by a person out of your race in an argument, does it upset you?
Yeah, of course it would, because in that instance, it's being used as a negative, derogatory word.
So essentially what we've done, we've took a negative and derogatory word and we've turned it into a term of endearment. And like you said, a noun, a person, place, or a thing. And because of that, we want to be able to use it, but don't want anyone else to use it. And now I'm cool with that because there's a lot of things that other nationalities can do that we can't do. Yeah, as an African American, as they say, or I should say black. You know, or in this conversation, nigga. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, that can be done. But I also wonder, is like, where does the buck stop? When is it okay for your kid to say that? What age can you say? Can your kid just say, "Hey, nigga, this," and you don't say, you don't have a problem?
Well, you know, I got two things on that. Number one, my son. I heard my son say "nigga" one time. He was on the phone. He might have been about, I don't know, 11, 12 years old, and he was on the phone with his friend, and they were playing a game, and, you know, I walked in. He's like, "Oh, nigga, I had you." And my response was, "Nigga, you crazy?" So I had to kind of, you know what I mean? It's so freely used again that it's just kind of one of those things where you won't even think of it as a bad word in a sense, unless it's kind of out of your race, you know. I think that's the biggest thing. I think one of the biggest problems that we have here with this whole nigga, N-word thing, whatever you want to call it. And I'm going to be real. And it's just me being honest. I feel like white people are just mad that we have something that they can't control, something they can't touch, because we live in such a politically correct day and age that a lot of things that you say can and will most likely stir up a funk and get you in trouble. People lose jobs behind things like this now.
Oh, without question. Without question.
And I think that's one of the reasons why white people are so offended, because this is one of those one things on the planet Earth that sits there that they no longer have control over. Is being able to say that word without any repercussions.
Well, here's a thing. Here's something that sparked my interest. A friend of my lady, one of her good friends happens to be white, and she's married to a black guy. And I've heard them talking to each other, not in front of me directly, but I just heard them. I think they were downstairs, I was upstairs, something to that effect. And when they would talk to each other, he'll be like, "Nigga, this, that, the other" to her. And she like, "Nigga, you, this, that, the other." And it's just cool to them. It's no problem. It still sounded funny to me hearing it come from her and him accepting it so freely. So, and then I've also been in situations where I'm just walking in general public, you know, in a crowded place, and I see a couple of friends of different orientations. I even seen this with an Oriental one time, you know, with some black friends, and they were calling each other nigga. I mean, no malice to it whatsoever, and it was just normal. It's just how they refer to each other. Everybody in their group was using it as a term of endearment.
Understandable.
And see, that's the problem with it. That's why I have a problem with the word itself, because granted, I use it, but who makes up the rules for the word?
The people that took it back.
But all right, so the people that took it back, perfect example is the people I was talking about, the relationship, the married couple, white woman, black man, and they call each other the word nigga as a term of endearment, or just in conversation with no malice behind it, and neither one of them seem to be upset. He's perfectly fine with her using that word. That would be very weird to me. It was weird hearing them do it.
Yeah, see, to me, that's unacceptable. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I you know, a little history on me. I've dated white women. I've dated Asian women. I've dated, sadly to say, I've dated a lot of different races. But anyway, the thing of it to me is even when I was dating out of my race, whoever, they knew that this word was unacceptable to me. That's how I carried things. They knew that word was just unacceptable.
No, I definitely feel you, man. I ain't really never had the other relationships with different orientations of women, but it you know, and I understand how that's accepted. But I think, you know, one thing about the word nigga, is that it's losing its flame, over time. So, meaning that it still affects us, but like I said, when I hear the younger kids and the younger people calling each other that word, and they have different orientations as far as race goes, I just think maybe in time it will naturally play itself out. You know what I mean? I think it's going to always be like, we're going to always hold on to it. Our generations well before us and extremely 2 and 3 times before generations before us, they're going to hold on to it. But it may loosen, if you're 10 years old right now, when you turn 40, are you going to even care? And then are his kids and grandkids going to care? You see what I'm saying?
I feel as though the word won't die on either side, and the reason being is that I watched a lot of movies that were based out of the 50s and the 60s, and even though the word nigger was used by white people in a derogatory term, you would also have some of the black folks also using that word as a term of endearment back then too, as far back as that, the 50s
right.
and 60s.
Right.
So, I think that that's something that, is just going to always be around. Again, I feel as though, since we kind of took the word and kind of switched it a little bit and took the power away from it, that's the thing that white people are upset about, because now it's ours.
Right. Right.
That's just what I gather out of it. I still have some family members that are older generation, and they may hear me throw it here and there, whatever. And they're like, "Wow, man, he used that word a lot." Was that from the South.
Right.
So, I Tennessee and North Carolina, South Carolina. So, I think it holds a little bit more with them, and that's probably why they take a little bit more offense to the word. But, I power out of it, man. You still have people say it amongst their friends, white people say it amongst their friends in the houses when they're talking about, the black people at their job, or, the black people that they come every day. They're still going to use this word. But you know what? Go ahead and use it behind closed doors. That's your right. That's your prerogative. Do what you want to do. You know what I mean? I'm just glad that we're at a different place now, to where it's just not acceptable in public in that term.
Well, I kind of want to flip the coin a little bit, meaning that as I think about it, as I heard you saying that, there are words that define other races or types of people, and I don't know if that has an effect to those races and types of people. I know Jews, one of the words used to be kike at one point in time, and I don't know how they feel about that. Well, I know with the Caucasian persuasion, I've heard them call each other crack. Oh, he's the biggest crack out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, they'll say that amongst each other. They call each other rednecks. They call each other, I don't really hear them say the word honky very often. You know what I'm saying? But there are terms for other nationalities. Asians have words that, will use derogatory against them. I don't know if they use the word. I wonder if it's just us, and I know, like I said, I've heard many white people use the word cracker towards each other, calling each other that kind of stuff. I don't know if that's just us and them, an American thing, or is that happening in other places?
Yeah. That's a hard one, because if you think about it, in this day and age now, anything could actually be politically incorrect. I have a buddy of mine, he's Jewish, and I'll tend to say sometimes, I'm like, yeah, man, well, guess what? Over there with the Jews, and and he's like, man, You know, he laughed it off, but it's like, you know, it's kind of a little derogatory a little bit. And he just laughed it off. You know what I mean? I may talk about Drake. You know, Drake is a Jew, and you know what I mean? It's kind of like, I really just think that it's nowadays it's one of those things where whoever hears it, it's all about how they
Right, definitely.
You know what I mean? You know, because in all actuality, if I walk into a room with a bunch of white people that I know are racist, I'm going to tell you what's more insulting to me than if they just came out and said the word nigga in front of me. What's more insulting to me is the fact that you'll try to make statements or you'll try to say things that are supposed to be, I guess, down, if you want to say that. You know what I mean? And I've walked into places that I've done business before where, you know, I could tell the attitude changes, and, you know, I come in and, what's up, homie? And things like that. You know, that right there is more offensive to me.
Right.
They call me a nigga. And I'm just going to be completely honest with you. You know, yeah, you know, I'm going to go ahead down and, you know, I'm going to give me a little bit of cornbread and that. No.
Right. Well,
because now I'm offended.
Dave Chappelle skit where he talked about when he was, well, it wasn't even a skit. I think one of his stand-ups, one of his earlier stand-ups, where he says, you know, I hate being in New York. He says, man, you know, the racism is really big, and, you know, but it's all hidden and underlined. He said, man, I had a place in Mississippi, and he said, I loved it. He said, when you wake up in the morning, you go out, get your newspaper, you stretch. Morning, Mr. Jackson. Morning, nigger. He said, right out in the open.
Uh-huh.
You know,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
he said, nothing hidden, right in the open. But I don't even. Well, I think it's always going to be a racial, you know, slur. But I guess the bigger picture is the use of the word when it comes to not being meant to be a racial slur. And I guess as we come into a place where whether it's accepted or not, I guess it's here to stay.
Oh, it's definitely here to stay. It's definitely here to stay. And the only thing, again, like I said, the only thing is now is that they use it a lot more behind closed doors. You know, Mos Def had a song that really describes how it's turned, you know, how the times have turned, and it's on his first album by itself. And I think it's called Mr. Nigga. And, you know, and it just goes through different stereotypes, you know, and well, situations where they stereotype him because he's black and all of that. And he's saying, you know, how they'll smile in your face at work, but, you know, they'll say it behind closed doors with their closest friends and stuff like that. You're going to have that.
Right.
You're going to have that. And I had this conversation a long time ago, you know, with a friend of mine, and she was white. And she tried to say, "Oh, I'm not racist," and my thing is this: I kind of think we all are racist a little bit. I hate to say it, but I think we are. I think we are all, to some kind of extent, a little racist. And I know a lot of people want to disagree with me, you know, and that's fine. You know, that's what the talk show is all about. Everybody doesn't have to agree all the time, but you know, I just feel like there's a lot of things, like, you know, I think that as far as stereotypes, the same thing. I hate to say it, but stereotypes are mainly true.
That is true. That is true. Well, as far as the other,
you know what I mean?
Just now, I think you're right as far as everybody has a little racism in them, and I don't know if it's any way to get around that, except for the blending of races. Meaning that if you get a group of black people or a family, a husband and a wife and their children, the children are going to hear some racial things towards other races. If you get a white family in the same exact situation, you're going to get some Asian, you know, who would have Mexican, Spanish, whatever, what have you. You're going to get that Indian. It's just going to happen. Now, where it may lessen is as you have an all-time high right now, blended families from different races. And I think that's just going to keep happening. You're going to have an Indian with an Asian. You're going to have a black with a white. You're going to have a Jew with a whoever, you know what I'm saying? And as that happens, I think you're going to kind of limit it because, you're protecting your kids from both sides at that point. You see what I'm saying? And that's going to make it happen less and less. You know what I mean? At least in those particular households. But if you got an all black household, an all white household, all Jew household, you're going to have some against other people because different days bring different emotions out of you. And when you go out in the world and something happens, man, that only happened because I was black. That only happened because I was a Jew, you know what I'm saying? Well, if I wasn't a white guy, they would have gave it to me. They just looking down, that those things are going to happen. You know what I'm saying? But as far as that word, I think is always going to be used, no matter, in some form, fashion, whether racially, whether a term of endearment, whether just to say nigga, in music and in media. I mean, Nas had an album called Nigga, you know what I'm saying? It's just going to happen.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I just think it's one of those things that are never gonna, it's never gonna go away. It's just about how we take the word and make it powerless.
Now,
and
I will say this: in a perfect world, if I had a power to flip a switch and it just happened, I wouldn't mind seeing the word just gone. I wouldn't mind seeing every racial word just gone. We just don't say it, and see where the world would take us. Would it make the world a better place? Maybe, maybe not. But if we took the power out of the words and just eliminated the words, period, then there is no power in the words. You don't even use the word. But the problem is people will always use it in a power situation, as a power play. Whether that word or any other possibly hurtful word, they would always be used. So I guess the best course of action may be to depower it and try to take the power out the word, because over time, like we said, the 5 and 10-year-olds now, and then when they turn 40, they're 5 and 10-year-olds and keep going, the word will definitely lose esteem that way, hopefully.
Because if you take the word away, then Spanish people won't have no way to call black paint black.
Negro.
The Spanish word is negro. So
right.
They just had to call it paint black.
Nah, no doubt.
But
no doubt.
But I agree totally, man. And
matter of fact,
my thing is,
not to cut you off. I just thought about it. I mean, when you talk about derogatory words towards, let's say, white people, I mean, you even got a movie called Gringo. You know what I mean?
Exactly. That's why I say nowadays everything is just so politically correct and incorrect. I mean, remember they were trying to change the name of the Washington Redskins.
Hey, man, people still bring it up every year. It's a bunch of teams. It's the Kansas City Chiefs, the Cleveland Indians. Matter of fact, Bomani Jones, a sports guy on ESPN, sports personality, he had one of the best shirts I ever saw, man. He wore a shirt and it said, I think it said the Cleveland Caucasians. And it got so much. And like on the Cleveland Indians, it's just a picture of an Indian guy with like a feather in his head, And on the Caucasian, it was like a picture of a white guy on his shirt, and it said the Cleveland Caucasians. And man, that drew a lot of attention, a lot of chatter everywhere. And his theory was, well, if you can do the Indians, why can't you just take another, persuasion of people and just do it without being a big deal? So I guess as time goes on, things will change. And I forgot what team. I mean, the Florida Seminoles. The college teams. You know what I mean? Like, I guess over time things may change. They may not change. Some people look at them as they said 95% of Indians don't look at that as derogatory. Quote unquote, a study says. I haven't talked to any personally because you don't really see American Indians in our neck of the woods anymore. But
and I don't even want to go into that.
Right. No doubt. No doubt. But I guess nigga's just another. Hopefully in the future, nigga will just be another word. It won't be as derogatory. I mean, it isn't now. And as we know, black people will consistently use it to identify each other. Like I said, the only thing that I'm struggling, as a word of power to mean you, we're used to that. We deal with that as it comes up. You know, only thing I'm not used to yet, and I guess over time I may get used to it or I may not. But, you know, like I said, my 10-year-old one day may get used to it, is the fact that, you know, like I said, I'm walking down the street or I'm riding down the street and I hear, you know, kids, you know, 15, 16 years old, hey, nigga, you know, whoever they talking to each other, but they're of different racial backgrounds. So that's the only thing that throws me up, you know, throws a curveball to me sometimes. And I'm not saying anything's wrong with it. It's just, I'm unfamiliar with that because I didn't see that growing up. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I guess that may be the new future because of how popular that word is in the culture of music and movies and television and the whole 9 yards. Yeah, what's that show Power? Didn't they call Tommy my nigga before? I mean, several times, but I don't know. I don't know if he's ever used that. Has he ever used it? I don't think he's ever used it in the show.
I'm not sure, but I hate to say this, man. A little off topic, but Tommy's character is so thorough. I think that even if he did, I think we all would have missed it because he's so.
I don't know. I think he's thorough. So, I think he's so.
Damn.
He's so one of us. But at the same time, I don't know if they want to take a chance and crawl. You know, 50 Cent does like to, you know, push the envelope a lot. I don't know if you want to push the envelope that particular far. You know, particularly that far because you just don't know what type of response you're going to get nowadays. You know, everybody's so sensitive. Right. Like you said, the politically correct and incorrect world we live in. You know, I tell you who could say it and pull it off. It'll stir the movement, you know, depending on how he uses it. But I could see Donald Trump talking to Kanye West. You know, that's my nigga. You know what I'm saying? Now, I don't know where to go, but I feel like he's kind of Teflon Don. It'll fade away. He can do whatever he wants. Even he might be the perfect person to do it. If we were to go open that Pandora's box, you know?
You know, the only thing I could say about that is if that did happen, that would not surprise me that would go down. And that probably not too many people would do anything about it. I mean, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, just because of what it was. But, you know, I don't like to get into the political side of things. All I'm gonna say is this: as far as any of that's concerned, what Robert De Niro said was on that was gangster.
Oh yeah, but, definitely.
I don't definitely. Yeah, but that was I felt like
that was an uppercut. You know, to the gut.
You know what I'm saying? He knocked it out the park on that one, but but anyway, again, that's what a lot of people think. Anyway, it's just politically incorrect. You know what I'm saying? You know, but to go back to what I was just thinking when you was talking about the word losing steam and all of that. You know, I remember another word that was deemed politically incorrect, and it has actually kind of fizzled out for the most part, and that is the word midget.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Because that back in the 70s, the 80s, even in the up until about the mid 90s, that was just what it was. Now, little all people. You hear is little people. Little people.
Say, well, I mean, a number of words have changed when you put it like that. Handicap now is disabled. You used to say handicap all the time. Matter of fact, here's a bigger word: retard.
I know you're gonna say it. Oh man, yeah, that's another one. I wasn't gonna say that one.
You couldn't say that word. Now it's what is that word? Special needs, and it's a whole ton of things now. But that used to be a common word. You know, we want to help the retarded out, and it was no big deal to it. Now you say that, and it's like, wow, what an insensitive dude you are.
Mm-hmm. And the word cripple.
Cripple. That was a normal word. That was a very normal word. I have a crippled child.
Nobody uses it. I feel like if you are under the age of 80, you do not hear that word anymore. Now, if you're talking to anybody 80 plus, you're still going to hear that word. Oh, yeah, he's been crippled.
You're 100% right, man. You're 100%. I forgot about these words. I mean, even, a word that's losing steam is black. I mean, because they came up with African American, which I've always wondered about that word and who deemed that word the first word, the first time, because What if a white person is born in Africa and they move to America? Are they not African American? You know what I'm saying? I've always wondered how that even came to be a term. You know, black was just a good, one, but I guess they want to do it the same as German American or Swedish American. You know, like the Caucasians use. They want to do it the same way. You don't hear Caucasian as much. You know, some of these words have faded off. So I guess nigga could fade off. So you're a podcast listener. That's awesome. Did you know you can enjoy an even better listening experience with the new Pocket Cast app? With powerful search and discovery tools, they've made it easier than ever before to find your next favorite podcast. It's even been recognized by Wired Magazine as the podcast every iPhone user needs. Pocket Cast is beautifully designed, easy to use, and offers amazing features like play without subscribing and advanced episode search. Pocket Cast help you quickly discover and enjoy your favorite podcast and more than 500,000 shows to choose from. Change can be hard, but sometimes it's worth it. Download Pocket Cast today from your Apple App Store or your Google Play Store or on the web at pocketcast.com. That's pocketcast.com. You'll be glad you did.
So definitely, man. You know, I really would like to find out, do some research, man, and find out exactly where did the word come from, man. You know what I mean? I'm thinking, like its origin, man, and find out the history. I think I'm gonna do that research and get back with it, because I just want to know myself, how to become a derogatory word,
Well, definitely, I'm gonna look into it myself. I think it came from Spanish terminology. Honestly, right. I think it came from the Negro, and then they went to nigger, which was Nigger. I'm pretty sure it came from that. I think one of the heaviest first colonists, and I don't want to be incorrect, but I'm pretty sure it had a lot to do with the Christopher Columbus days and all that stuff as well. Like, not even a term that was used, prior to that. I don't think Napoleon invaded Africa and Egypt and all that stuff that they, that they used it back then. From I've done research on them, but it was many years ago. So, my age, my memory is not what it used to be.
Right. So yeah, I'm gonna do some research and get back at the people with that one.
Well, it's definitely a topic we're gonna come back with, man, because I don't think it's a topic that's going anywhere anytime soon. So definitely going to put it up on the Facebook page, the Barbershop Breakdown Show. Try to get a couple of you guys' comments, see what you think about it. And definitely going to get back to you real soon. We're going to keep these shows cranking at you at hopefully a high, fast rate there. So once again, I am Roscoe and
Big T.
Thank you for listening to the Barbershop Breakdown. Peace.
Later.
This is the Barbershop Breakdown. You can go to our Facebook page, the Barbershop Breakdown Show. You can also friend us on Facebook by searching for Barbershop Breakdown. You can also go to us on Twitter at Barbershop B Down. And then you can email us barbershopbreakdown@gmail.com.